Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Go West, our Pro Cthulhu campaign. I am Simon at Wandering DM. Welcome, welcome. Let's go around the table, introduce ourselves, and who we are playing. I'll start first, and then we'll move on to the priest, the doctor, and the merchant. I am Simon. I'll be playing. I was gonna say George Brooke. Robert Robert Stone, the guy who forgot to change his name on the overlay, um, but the town's deputy. And who's playing our town priest?
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing I almost said Doctor Father Boris Makarov. Yeah, it's been a while, and I'm excited to kind of hear what happened while I was gone. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I really didn't think this character would live this long, so it's always a treat to come back.
All right, doctor. Speaking of doctor,
Yes, doctors, many doctors. There should only be one doctor, but we'll settle for two or three, however many there are. So yeah, I'm Scott. I'll be playing Dr. Drake Anders, and trying to whittle down the number of doctors in this town because we don't need three.
that's true. That's true. And returning today is the town's general stores manager. How are you?
Oh, there we go. Hi, I'm Kelly. I play Maisie, and apparently some crazy stuff happened last week, and for everyone, I'm going in blind, so this should be fun.
And last but not least is our keeper. I'll leave the mic up to you, Deirdre. Please take us away.
Hello, y'all. Welcome back. It's time to drive some fine folk mad in the wonderful realm of Four Corners, New Mexico, in the year of our Lord 1870. It's been a eventful couple weeks for folk. But yet, this morning was relaxing and recovering for at least our dear Dr. Anders and Deputy Deputy Robert Stone, as they had a pleasant conversation with Dr. Adams and found some very interesting things about him. Managed to clean up after the mess that they left behind from Jane Langley and her unfortunate demise. Robert found some of her personal effects he went through. See what that does for him in the near future. But when we last left off, Dr. Anders was recovering from a minor embarrassing moment with alcohol, and Deputy Stone was approaching was inside the Coldwater Sundries after Miss Nellie Connors had pointed out that she couldn't find Maisie and no one was answering the door. As he rose up those stairs, discovering some scuff marks as he did so on the floor, followed by some spots of blood. Entering Maisie's room, found some marks on the door itself and a handprint in blood in the middle of the floor. And no Maisie to be seen. So why don't we... Well, Deputy Stone, what are you gonna do?
I would immediately look at out the window. See if there are any traces of Maisie or whoever took her away.
Would you like to roll me that spot hidden, please?
I would. And that's an extreme success.
There are no signs at the window of anything wrong. There's no signs of anything in the street or at the door, the alleyway below the window. But your attention is drawn again to those scuff marks on the floor. That now that you're inside the room, you notice are leading outside. Possibly down the stairs, maybe the back door if you're inclined. Are you looking at anything else in this room or just trying to find?
Well, once I've looked out the window, I think Robert would scan the room quickly before heading back downstairs. Are there any signs of struggle in the bedroom?
Nope. Aside from that print in blood in the middle of the floor, there's nothing. The bed is well made. Maisie, I'm assuming, based on her personality and everything you know about her, is a very fastidious individual and likes things where they belong. So there doesn't seem to be anything knocked over, nothing out of place.
Okay, I'm going to head back downstairs. I think it was Nellie, was her name?
Mm-hmm. Ms. Nellie Connors.
Yeah, Nellie Connors, is she still around?
You had her waiting outside the door. She's not come inside.
Okay. Miss Connors?
Deputy, how can I help you? What did you find Maisie? I'm slightly concerned for her.
Yeah, Maisie is missing?
Why is Maisie? What do you mean missing?
I do not know. I don't want to startle you or anything, but would you have perchance seen it?
I'm more than twice your age, and I have guided more than 3 generations through that schoolhouse. Be concise, be polite, and be answering everything in the details that I need.
Well, I am sorry, ma'am, but right now it seems like we have a disappearance on our hands. Now, have you seen anything this morning, anything at all that would have been out of the ordinary?
The only thing that was out of the ordinary is that I told Maisie I was going to come by, and she wasn't here when I knocked on the door.
All right, then. Well, I'll need to keep looking around. I'll keep you posted if there's anything. But I would advise you not to... Don't tell anyone about this yet.
Of course I'm not going to tell anyone about this yet. However, Deputy, you might want to know that the last time I saw Nellie, last time I saw Maisie, she was saying goodbye to Geraldine last night.
Yeah, I figure the Bradfords have something to do with it.
There's nothing wrong with the... Geraldine Marsden is not a Bradford. I might have certain opinions of that gentleman that passed, God rest his soul, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with Geraldine Marsden. She is perfectly polite.
I'll take your... what's it called? The thing of character. Your,
Recommendation? Opinion?
Yeah, sure, your opinion on Geraldine into account. Now, I have some deputy things to do. And I just go around the... I tip my hat and I just go right away. She hasn't seen anything interesting more than Geraldine. I have a Maisie to find, so...
So coming around the back of the building to the back door, where most of the deliveries are made, except for when Maisie wants to take them from the stagecoach herself. The door is closed, but it's not locked.
All right, I'm going to carefully open it.
Opening the door leads you to the hallway and the back stair. You again see those scuff marks on the floor. gentlemen of your descent and I, and going by that previous roll, would notice that they are leading out the door.
Now, are there any tracks outside?
Going on that previous roll, I will say that there are tracks of 2 horses outside.
And by any chance, would they be heading into the general direction of the Bradford Ranch?
That you're going to have to roll for.
Sure, what do I have to roll for?
You're going to have to roll a track on that one.
Oh my god! Extreme success.
I'm duly impressed.
Easy game.
So am I.
You get to check that for next time.
On a 10.
Yeah.
Very impressive, very impressive. Looking at the tracks, it's hard to read. The horses are overlapping each other, walking back and forth, going all over. They're leading out of town. If you're going to follow them for any distance, you start to follow them. They head west out of town. Then they seem to turn and turn back. They start circling around about a couple miles out of town. And then they start getting harder to read as they kind of circle back amongst themselves. There seem to be more horses here. Things change. 2 more horses come in. The original horses ride south. The new horses, that's harder to figure out. You can see they came in from the north, and they seem to be heading east back towards town. Which is the perfect time to cut over to Maisie. Hi, Maisie.
Ruh-roh.
You're waking up. And the first thing you think when you wake up is, I am not where I want to sleep.
The first thing Kelly thinks when she woke up was, damn, I really did not roll well on those things Deirdre asked me to roll for before this. She had me roll last week blind, and it did not go well. Okay. I think Maisie's gonna. Can she look around? Is she?
You are opening your eyes. You're in a small wooden space. Vertical slats of boards. Probably no bigger than a 10 by 10. Lying on something soft. But firm.
So she'll try and get up, I imagine, a little out of it.
You try and get up. You'll notice that you are fully dressed and your boots are on. And the minute you go to put your hand down to push yourself up, you stop. Because it hurts kind of a lot. And you look down at your hand and you see that there's a giant gash right across the palm of your right hand. It's not well, it wasn't bleeding until you put the pressure on it, and now it's just kind of
oozing.
It had scabbed over, but it is no longer so.
As I get up, am I laying on something on the floor, or is there actually some kind of like...
Well, no, it's looking around. It's a little hard to see. It's a little dim. There's light coming in through the cracks in the boards, but you put your hand down, and those are feed bags. You know what they are. You know what feed bags look like and feel like. You've sold plenty of them.
So am I in a room, or am I in, like, the back of a wagon or something? So you said 10 by 10, but can I, like, stand up?
Yeah, you can stand up. It's like a room.
Okay.
There's a ceiling above you. It's a little pitched. It's not a wagon. It's definitely not moving.
So there's light coming in through the slats. Is there anywhere that looks like a doorway?
Mm-hmm. There's a door.
And I'd like to try and kind of go up to it and not open it, but just see if I can hear anything outside.
Go ahead and make me that listen check.
Oh, I accidentally. Dang, sensitive mouse.
Well, it's fine. We'll take the first one with the extreme success. Everybody's getting extreme successes. I'm loving all it, all the fun, all the successes. You don't really. You put your ear to it. It takes you a second. Doesn't seem to be anybody immediately out the door, and then you hear something a little odd to you. You hear, with that extreme success, two things. You hear the noon bells of the church ringing, and you hear a piano playing.
So Maisie's just gonna open the door.
Going to open the door.
Is it locked?
It's not locked at the moment, but it's a little stuck. You're gonna have to put some effort into it.
Okay.
Seems like there's almost something laying against it when you go to push it. The handle moves, but there's something
Like
on
something
the
on
other
the other
side.
side that's keeping it closed. Okay. So would this just be like straight strength?
Yeah, I would say so. Ooh, hard success. You push out, and it takes you some time, and you realize that it's actually hurting your hand to do so as you kind of grip in and push against the door. That wound on your hand would definitely benefit from some medical attention in the near future. But as you do so, you feel the door slowly start to give, and you feel something on the other side start to move. And you are looking at the back of the saloon.
Now that there's more light in the room that I was just in, is there anything else that I can see in there? Like maybe somebody dropped something, or they left something, or...
Why don't you go ahead and roll me that spot hidden? Hard success. Aside from the feed bags that you were laying on, you notice some cases of what were alcohol. You also note, opening them up and looking around inside, you notice a bunch of bottles with that skull, cattle skull with the snake winding through it symbol on them. They are empty, but you notice the bottles are there. You notice a couple drops of blood around. You're pretty sure that's from you, given things. You also notice a couple footprints in the dirt floor. Well, dust on the floor, I should say, because it is a raised floor to try and protect what's in here. And one thing that's very odd to your eye, there's a harmonica on the floor.
So she'd definitely pick up the harmonica and take a closer look at it if there's like initials or any inscription on it.
There
is
isn't
it-
any inscription on it, but it seems oddly clean and pristine for being, well, in the desert of New Mexico. This time of year, the dust does get everywhere, even when it shouldn't. But this looks like it was brand new or polished to a shine. It's almost, instead of being steel, looks like a shinier, higher class metal. You might think it might be something like silver itself. The wood is a dark wood. You're not quite sure what that is.
So Maisie will pocket the harmonica, and just note the footprints. Does it look like? Is it enough that I can tell if they're like multiple people, or if it's like a man-sized boot, or
There are a bunch of different boot sizes. You're not quite sure.
and she'll probably like tear off a piece of the bottom of her dress
Mhm.
and wrap up her hand so she doesn't get blood on anything else, and then head out and leave and see if there's anybody outside, or what time of day it is, or anything.
Mm-hmm. Let's rewind the clock a little bit then. Doctor, as you are sobering in the church, we might say.
I believe so. I believe it was heading up towards the commotion that
Yeah.
Miss Counters was making.
You hear something kind of thud in the back room of the church.
I'll make my way from the front door, I guess, to the noise. Go see what it was. Thought the church was empty.
Well, the church itself was, and nobody ever looked in the back room. You would see there, sir, dear priest who has fallen asleep in his chair, and he appears to have knocked over a letter pamphlet type thing that was sitting in front of him, unopened, onto the floor.
And I'll reach out and semi-soberly wake the father up.
You know it is bad luck to wake a sleeping man.
Father, you, excuse me, made a bit of a mess. I'll help him pick up the items he knocked over.
Yes. What is it we have here? And I'll look at the letter.
Mm-hmm. A letter that's been sitting in your pocket and on your table for a while.
Quite some time. I'll open it.
Open it on the back. It has a very large wax seal with ribbon entwined through it. You would recognize that as the seal of the Archbishop of North America. And you would see that it's in Russian the minute you open it.
Sweet.
Interesting things going on in Russia these days, apparently. And as you go and open it, it's heavy vellum. There are a bunch of seals across the bottom with ribbons and very official. This is an official document, but the letter itself is very short. It is simply addressed to Father Boris Makarov from the Patriarch of Moscow. Actually, technically, he's not the Patriarch at the moment. Instead, I have this written down. Hold on. I have this written down because I did this. I'm a nerd. It is the Count Alexei Vasilov, as the Emperor has taken over. Well, the Holy See is now under the control of the imperial family, and the direction of the Eastern Orthodox Church is under the control of the bureaucrats of the imperial family of Russia.
It's a good thing.
You know, it is what it is. Holy Synod, excuse me, the Holy Synod. I did write that down. And you have been tasked with the care and concealment of an item that concerns the Holy Synod. And concerns is kind of like, looking at it, you can see the quill put more pressure on it, like emphasis, not underlined because this is too official a document to be like that, but you see that he's still, the individual who wrote this wanted to put that level of emphasis on it.
Yes, a little bit more ink on there.
Yeah. This package is coming under guard from Fort Wingate in Gallup, New Mexico. Keep it secret. Do not allow any to gain access to this item. And then you see the official seal of the Count, and it's closed with Christ abides here, which is the official greeting between two priests of the Eastern Orthodox Church.
Well, that was interesting. News from home. And I'll just like tuck the letter away. What you said? What time is it?
Looking at your pocket watch, it's 11:50. Well, no, excuse me, it is 11:30.
Have I missed something important, Doctor? Normally, I don't have many visitors in my private chambers.
Just the deputy and I and Dr. Adams were having a bit of a conversation over in the church, and we were heading out, and I heard you, and I think there's something. There's a bit of a commotion up the street. You can come with me. Come on, let's head up that way. It's something at the general store, I think.
Of course, lead the way.
And I'll start making my way sluggishly to the general store where Robert is.
As you do so, you will see him riding or walking. So which one were you doing on this trail?
Well, I think if the trail went on for miles outside of town, I would have gotten my horse.
All right, then. You would have seen him riding out of town, probably at a respectable pace, good enough that he can continue to follow these marks that he's tracking, but probably at best speed, sir. Would that be accurate to say?
Mm-hmm.
So,
if I see the doctor and the priest, I'll hail them, get off my horse, and say, Father, Doctor,
What was all the commotion about?
Maisie's missing.
She's missing?
Yeah. I went to look at. I went to look at the general store because Miss Connors was looking for her.
Is that what all the noise was about?
What noise?
Earlier, the banging and...
Oh, the banging on the door. Yeah. That's what it was. And, well, it appears that something foul befell Mrs. Coldwater, and she ain't anywhere to be seen.
Something foul?
Well, foul play, if you will. I
Is...
think she was taken away.
Okay, what do we have to go with so far?
A bloody handprint, scuff marks and tracks, a lot of tracks. Some of them are roundabout and come back this way. I still need to follow them.
How much blood are we talking?
How much blood were we talking? I only figured like a bloody handprint.
What you saw, there were minor spots on the stairs, but they weren't very much. The only blood you saw in the room was a
The
handprint.
handprint.
Okay,
That's it.
so we're not talking a lot of blood here.
No, we're talking about maybe she cut herself on a piece of glass or something.
Okay. I wonder if anybody around town has seen anything.
Well,
I'm not.
the only thing that Nellie saw was that she was talking. Well, Maisie was talking with Geraldine last night.
Geraldine.
The Bradford Ranch.
I know,
I mean,
right?
maybe.
Do you
Is that
think-
where you were heading?
Well, some of the tracks came back around here. I wanted to keep following them, see where they led. Maybe I could question whoever did this,
Okay.
or maybe someone saw something.
Right,
That
right.
could help.
That's what I'm thinking. Is somebody maybe we'll get lucky and somebody saw where they went.
You would be willing to come with me?
For Maisie, sure. You know, we've been through quite a bit already.
And you, Father?
Of course, a shepherd must look after his flock from time to time.
All right then.
When Jane, when we had the weird dream with Jane, and Macy agreed to give her what she wanted, do you think that maybe this is somehow related, that they took her to get what they wanted from Macy?
Possible. I mean, it doesn't sound impossible.
Well, regardless, let us follow the tracks. Maybe it is nothing occult going on here.
No, it could be just a simple kidnapping, which, you know, in our case would be like having a vacation.
A nice change of pace.
In this town, yeah, that's accurate.
I would
Um,
give a lot to just have a regular crime on my hand.
Give me a moment. Let me I'll grab my horse and we can head out.
All right. Well, in the meantime, I want to take a look at the tracks that you said, Deirdre, that some of them were circling around, and then some came back into town, and some left town.
Mhm.
So while I'm waiting for, I don't know if Father, you have a horse as well.
I think so.
So while
Yeah,
they're getting,
I have a horse.
okay, so while they're getting their horses ready, I just want to take a look at where these tracks that come back into town lead. See if they
Okay.
lead to like a residence or something, a place where I could, you know, interrogate
It's
whoever's there.
It's much harder to do so in town. Tracks are run over,
Mhm.
walked over all the time. So I'm going to need you to make a second roll for that.
Am I gonna be lucky?
No, you are not.
I end up in
Opposite
Colorado for some reason.
You start looking at these tracks and you know where they came in to town. You follow them from there, but you come across the main street and you lose them. You're not sure where they went. They seem to backtrack and go over, and
Mhm.
you're spending the next 10 minutes looking around, getting off your horse, looking down on the ground. Again, a reminder to all of my players, you can push a roll.
Yes, but it's a 10% chance.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just reminding you that it exists.
Mhm.
I do have a question for you, Father.
Mm-hmm.
Do you trust anyone other than yourself with your bells?
Who was the one lady who did the flowers? I can't remember her name. We had a
Miss Nelly
conversation.
Canas. Miss Nelly Canas.
Yeah, I think she could ring them at the appropriate time if she's around and I'm not there.
All
I'm
right.
old and I probably forget every now and then.
She's older than you are, and she's entirely, but she doesn't forget these kind of things. It's what happens when you're a retired school teacher. No, I'm trying to be nice to my players, and they're just making comments about me. It's all, I don't understand. But no. So yeah, so you're gonna let Miss Nelly deal with the the bells if it is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
All right then.
I hope that's not a bad thing.
I mean, you glancing around and glancing at your watch, you see Miss Nelly Canas kind of standing in the middle of the street watching you and kind of raising an eyebrow at the deputy, shakes her head, looks at you, checks her watch. She goes, "Father, do you need me to take care of those bells? I mean, it's 5 minutes to 12.
If you would help me out again, the Miss Connors, I would be much appreciated.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, are you well, Father? We did not have morning service again this morning.
You know, there has been a few odd things going around in town of recent. I lose track of time. A lot, it seems, recently.
You know, you really should see Dr. Anders. He can do wonderful things now. Modern medicine is just a marvel.
Dr. Anders instead of Adams.
Well, Dr. Adams is a very pleasant fellow. I do enjoy his company on the occasion, but no, I only go and see Dr. Anders as my doctor. Why?
I maybe a second opinion if one of them doesn't check out.
Well, second opinions are always important. You wouldn't want to be unwell and failing in your assigned tasks, now would you, Father?
I would not.
And she just kind of looks at you. Well, I'll take care of it for now.
I will heed your advice.
And walks off.
I love that sign, Scott.
Stays right over here for a reason.
Hashtag. You might be the... It's fine. And she will kind of walk off with purpose and drive to the church. And you get the distinct impression, there's no psychology roll needed, you get the distinct impression that she is slightly disappointed in the father.
Oh, yeah, probably.
What's that?
If only she knew what I was protecting her from.
No, the old church lady would probably still be disappointed in you.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. She's not angry. She's just disappointed. And as the doctor returns and George, well, still trying to find those tracks in the middle of the street, Miss Nelly Canas starts ringing the noon bells. Maisie, what are you doing?
Sorry, it's something stuck in my head. So were these the bells that I heard as I was leaving then? So the bells ring out for a few moments as Maisie is kind of giving a one last look over to the storage shed she was basically dropped into before she leaves, probably having to squeeze out the door
You do
around.
so, and you notice there are a couple large barrels put in front of the door.
Rude. And she would look around and realize, probably between the light and the bells, that it was noon. And so she's lost something like 15 or 16 hours, probably.
Well, last time Nellie Connors saw you, you were saying goodbye to Geraldine Marsden. You're thinking back to the last thing you remember. That was saying bye to Deanie. You locked up the door and went upstairs. So figure you locking up and going back to bed 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So something like 15 hours or so. And she would immediately kind of stumble out, I imagine still kind of out of it and a little dazed and really like freaked out. Should I roll a sanity check for waking up bloody in a shed?
Well, I was going to ask you to, but since you volunteered, go ahead. Yes, you're going to roll that sanity check.
Okay.
Very nice. You do not lose any sanity, but you're slightly out of sorts and you're disconcerted by everything that just happened. And you're very disconcerted because you do not remember anything after locking. Well, that's not true. You remember Deanie leaving. You remember her locking. You remember locking the door. You remember going upstairs.
So I don't even really remember going to bed.
Nope.
Okay. And I think.
And you are fully dressed in what you wore last night.
Okay.
No, yes.
Okay. So I think, given the cut on her hand and knowing where she is, she'd probably just kind of out of it start stumbling towards Dr. Anders, her doctor's office.
Gentlemen, why don't you roll me a spot hidden? As you are focused on trying to get things and find where these tracks are.
You notice Maisie standing right next to you.
Yeah, Maisie just like walks next to us. We're just like, I gotta get these horses ready.
You're all standing there staring at tracks on the ground, and Maisie's just like behind you, like, guys.
Wonder where Macy is. Just can't find her anywhere.
I do like, however, that the doctor and the priest are focused trying to find these tracks that George said were there that they were going to go after. And George just kind of looks up at the second and meets Maisie's eye as she kind of stumbles from behind the saloon out onto the boardwalk.
Maisie!
Can we actually hear his heart like pumping faster?
I don't know.
Well, you can probably hear me also shout out Maisie.
That you do hear. You probably don't see the slight pallor or anxiousness on his face as you failed that spot hidden, but you do hear him call out to her. What do you do next, sir?
I run up to Maisie.
I imagine she's probably covered in dust. You see that her hand is wrapped up, but there might be some blood coming through this fabric from how hard she had to like push things open. Imagine she kind of popped anything that was sealing up open. And she's just like...
It's starting to seep a little through the bandage that you've put on it.
And she's like, George.
Maisie, what happened? I was looking all over for you.
I don't know. I remember going home and locking up the store, and then the next thing I knew, it was I was in the feed shed behind the saloon, and the door was propped closed with a bunch of stuff, and I had to shove my way out, and my hand.
Oh my god! And I'll take her hand in mine, if you let me.
Yeah.
Without pressing on the wound or anything. And I'll turn around. I'll say, Doctor Anders, please.
And
Maisie's bleeding.
seeing that, I'll grab the medical bag off the horse and head over towards Maisie and Robert, George, whatever.
You're muted.
You're muted.
So now everybody but the priest knows that George is really Robert. Oh my fun. Do you have your medical kit with you, Doctor?
Should be on the horse, yes.
He has
Oh,
a fanny
oh.
pack.
Yeah, there's a saddlebag with it.
So reaching into your bags, and would you like to roll that medicine check?
Yeah.
Success.
Yes.
Um,
Jersey, your mom got.
Jersey, Rockster,
Mhm.
football jersey.
Yeah, Rutgers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's okay.
on streamer. Sorry.
I can wait.
Sorry.
Dad problems.
Yeah, a little bit. So,
Looking at this wound across her hand and seeing the slow seepage, it's started to pick up a little bit. It's actively bleeding now. It looks like you've torn any and all of the clotting that was going across that wound.
right.
But it's very precise.
So it's very clean.
Oh, it's very clean. The cut, let me phrase that. The cut itself is clean.
Yes.
You probably want to clean the wound.
The wound. Yeah. Obviously.
The wound is not clean. The cut is.
Right.
Um,
So I'm assuming as we're, getting the dried blood and the seepage cleaned, I'll see that it's a very straight cut.
it is a very straight cut. It's a very straight cut that follows Maisie's lifeline almost exactly. And it's very precise because although it's painful and bleeding, it does not seem to have cut any of the tendons or ligaments in the hand.
So it's almost superficial. It's not very deep.
It's that fine line between the two.
Okay.
You would
So
definitely want to put stitches in this.
Right.
It's deep enough for stitches, but it isn't damaging. Or-
And as we've cleaned this up, Maisie, you need to get to my office. Robert, we need to get her into the office. I'm going to go ahead and put on a pot of coffee so I can steel my nerves, and I need to get this taken care of. This is deep. I mean, it's not incredibly deep, but it's deep enough that we need to take care of this.
Oh no. You're gonna have to put stitches in my hand.
I'm afraid so, Miss Coldwater.
Maisie, can you roll me psychology? Let's go with psychology. Maisie, how do you feel about a doctor that you can smell massive amounts of alcohol coming off of his breath, doing fine surgery on your hand?
Wait, what? Not great. and Maisie would just, I think, pull her hand back. Doctor, are you sure that you're in a state to be able to stick a needle and thread in my palm?
I have stitched wounds that have far exceeded this under worse circumstances. A little bit of booze on my breath should not be too frightening, I should say.
Also, the boozing was done yesterday.
No. The boozing was done
A little bit ago.
about an hour.
Yeah,
Well then.
it'll be fine.
Remember? You left Dr. Anders to slowly wake up and sober up on a church pew as you ran down to Miss Nellie Connor's.
That is true.
Drinking helps steady the hand.
Well, either way, Doc, I'd appreciate if we all had that cup of coffee first. You see, I'm right-handed. I kind of need this. You're muted, Scott. Still
You're
muted.
still muted.
There we go. Professionals, I swear. So there should be some clean bandages in the bag. Just keep that on her hand. We'll we get back to the office and we can get this taken care of. I mean, it's either you let me stitch you up or we hope you don't get your hand infected and I have to amputate it.
Oh, that's really dramatic. Macy would actually say that. Okay. Yeah. Clean bandages, coffee, stitching.
All right, let's get you to the doctor's office, and I'll go rummage in the saddlebags to get the bandages.
Has anybody been back to my place?
I did. I went and looked around.
Did you see anything? I don't even remember. I mean, this is what I was wearing yesterday. I must not even have gone to bed.
Who was the last person you talked to, Maisie?
Deanie. But
Did you ingest anything?
not that I remember. I didn't have any of that weird. Oh, the liquor bottles. I found all the empty the crates with the bottles with the weird heads on them. Sorry, it's been a weird morning. They're back in the back of the shed outside of the saloon. They were in there with me.
So people are still keeping them around.
They're empty.
Wait, how many bottles were there?
29. There were 30, but you liberated one, so there were 29.
Then drank it.
Well, I just hope nobody drank the other 29 bottles and they were just, poured out into the desert.
After all we've seen, you really think that's what's happening?
Ever the optimist one, Miss Goldwater. And I'll say that as I change the bandage on my hand. Oh, my apologies.
It's okay. It's gonna hurt no matter what. Thank you.
I just feel bad being the one that's hurting you right now.
Well, as far as I'm aware, you're not the one that cut my hand, so I think it's okay. I don't know why.
Doctor.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt that movement between our two young lovers, who still have not informed Maisie's parents about what's been going on. The sheriff may win his bet yet, but the doctor, as you come rushing in, I'm assuming at best speed to your home, your sister comes out to the noise, takes one look at you, shakes her head. I'll have the coffee ready in a moment. Who needs what and how many people are bleeding?
Just one. The coffee's for me, thank you. And go ahead and put a pot of water on to boil. I need to get the needles.
Would you like the alcohol? Well,
yes, we need to do a bit of stitching.
fine. Honestly, Drake, how do you ever survive without me here?
I manage, but it's shaky at best. How are you feeling, by the way?
I'm fine. Just a small nap and I'm perfectly fine.
And does she appear better, or from what I can tell?
Want to roll that psychology?
Certainly. Hard success.
She's still pale.
Have
Sweating
you,
or...
have you eaten anything, Isabel?
Of course. I was just about to have luncheon with the children.
As soon as you get the coffee on, I'll manage the water. Go ahead and take the children and have lunch at the saloon. Do you have enough?
Since I just made lunch, I don't think I'm going to go out to the saloon and buy lunch.
That's fine. Just want to make sure you're keeping up.
Of course I am.
seem a little off color, sweetheart.
Like I said, I was just tired. Now I'm feeling better. It'll come back. Just have to eat something. But you here. And she literally turns around and puts a cup of coffee in your hands. Now, I'm also... Who are we meeting?
Maisie and the deputy should be in shortly.
Well, I will definitely be staying then. Good Lord, Drake.
And that's fine. And I'll take a sip of the coffee and just kind of start to try and get my hand steady and get ready to put some stitches in this cold water.
At about that time, we have Thank you.
Yeah, we just got a curse for the keeper to use. Thank you, Valaksha.
Alright. At about that point, the deputy escorting Maisie comes in the door. Believe good Father Boris is joining them.
I wanna hang back and return to the church, and I wanna try to divination like what happened to Maisie last night. Just like what hurt Maisie would like be my prayer.
So you're gonna go back to the church.
Mm-hmm.
Do you tell the other two what you're doing?
I'll be back in a moment. I need a minute. Go check on something at the church. I'll return here.
All right, Father.
Well, we're gonna follow good Father Boris then.
Through crosshairs, or?
I mean, if you want to roll that spot hidden.
Not to your knowledge.
Yeah, I'm fine. Ignorance is bliss. I'm good. Smile on my face.
Are you smiling, sir? That seems slightly odd, considering that your dear friend, Miss Maisie Coldwater, just walked up to you and said she doesn't remember the last 15 hours and she's bleeding. But if you want to smile at that, go right ahead.
It's probably like perma-frown these days.
Perma-frown. All right. Well, teach their own. Again, Father, you have to roll was it a D4 for the time it takes, and a D6 for the magic points?
D10 for the rounds, and then D6 for the magic.
So you're going to subtract that 4 from your magic points, and it's going to take you 2 rounds, so about 5 minutes as you walk into the church. What is it? Describe what it looks like as you beseech your God.
Yeah, I would, it would probably be like, like down on my knees, like in front of the cross. Just like, like, dear Lord above, I know I asked for much lately, but with so many strange things going on in Four Corners, I must beseech you for one more glimpse of what happened to Maisie last night, if you would be so kind to your humble servant, Father Boris Makarov. Amen. And then I just kind of like wait, and there's just like an odd silence. Maybe you hear like a horse like neigh outside, but it's like eerily quiet.
It's very eerie. It's very quiet. And as your eyes are closed, you just feel that chill come up your spine. You feel the cold seep into you. You smell the pine and tar. Smell the heavy incense in the air. And you see a flash in your eyes of a figure that you can't quite see what it is. It's just there. Standing in Maisie's bedroom as she walks in the door. You see Maisie stop and just stand there. Figure walks up to Maisie, and it's this dark, almost consuming shadow And every time it moves forward, there's less and less light that you can see around or seeing throughout the room. You see the figure take Maisie's hand. You see that darkness kind of swallow Maisie's hand, and you see it come away, and her hand is bleeding. You see the figure take Maisie's hand and press it to the floor. And then the figure just kind of brings an arm around Maisie and darkness. As the figure kind of walks towards the door. Then you see movement as someone else, a person indistinct, can't quite tell, starts moving Maisie out of the room, down the stairs, onto a horse. And then you wake up.
Yeah, I'll just stand up, brush some of the dust off my knees, and I'll return. I'll go back to the doctor's. I'll keep that to myself for now, because I'm not sure what to say.
Walking in, you would see the sight of the doctor tending to Maisie's hand with a cup of coffee nearby, and his sister standing there very very dark black dress, but she's kind of pinned an apron, a white apron over it, and wearing gloves, handing things off to her brother. It seems that she's done this kind of thing before. She may not be a nurse, but she's worked in a doctor's office for a very long period of time. And she's used to, well, it may not be perfectly in sync with her brother, but it's pretty close. Definitely had spent time helping him in particular, but it's been a while since they've done this. And I figure Dr. Anders isn't paying much attention to anything beyond tending to Maisie and occasionally his cup of coffee. But Maisie, you would recognize that kind of slight, I love my brother, but really, why did he put me in this position? Come on, you know better. Kind of look. That probably any woman in the room would have recognized. Not gonna lie.
Sorry. And so I think Maisie has her hand out, but she is distinctly looking as far away as her head can go without disturbing where her hand is. I'm assuming it's laying on something.
Probably. Well, probably actually, Isabel's holding at least part of your hand.
Oh. Okay.
To kind of hold it steady, kind of thing.
So she probably is glancing back and forth to Isabel.
Yeah.
Kind of portraying this I'm trusting you kind of thing.
Well, I mean, it's totally fine, darling. My brother is very good at what he does.
Yeah, so it seems like the two of you have worked together in this capacity before.
Yes, it has.
Once or twice.
I imagine that you have a great deal of stories to tell.
I have so many stories.
That will be saved for another time.
I don't know. Wouldn't it be to the benefit of the patient's mental status to know some of these stories, brother?
That depends. on the story, dear.
I'll talk later.
Um. Well, I do think that since you are a new woman in town, you know, we should get to know each other. You should come by the store and we can get lunch or something sometime.
That sounds like a wonderful idea. But why don't you introduce me to this very kind gentleman who's standing nearby, looking very flustered at everything?
Oh, this is Deputy George. Why don't you?
My name is Robert Stone. I'm the deputy here. Some of my friends called me George from time to time. It's a sort of a little jest between us.
Well, it's very nice to meet you, Deputy.
Robert is a dear friend. He's very concerned about me, as you can tell.
Oh, I can tell.
Is it
And
me or is
Maisie
it
will
getting
blush.
hot?
Oh, speaking of Robert, and she'll take her other hand and try and pull the harmonica out of her pocket.
Don't move, darling. What do you need me to
Sorry.
move? Take from you.
Can you in my pocket? Is a
Yes, of
harmonica?
course.
Thank you.
That-
Can you?
I'm assuming you want to give me here, Deputy. That's for you.
That was on the ground next to me when I woke up.
Are there any
I don't-
markings on it? Sorry.
You want to roll that spot hidden on it? There aren't anything obvious.
You were saying, Maisie?
I
I'm
just
sorry.
it was weird. It stood out. It's so clean. Nothing is this is clean out in the desert.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna spend 5 luck points.
Okay. Looking at it, you definitely see that it is silver. The metallic portions of it are silver. The wood is a dark wood. It looks almost ebony. Very dark, not native to North America. Whatever this wood is, it's not, it's high class and very nicely polished, very nice shine. You can almost see your reflection in it. Looking very detailed at it and kind of turning it over and over. Have you ever played a harmonica before, Deputy?
Well, that's what Robert was about to do. If the harmonica looks in working order, I have a harmonica in my possession because I've done playing harmonica before. So I think I'm just gonna play
Well, as you looking at it,
quiet tune. Yep.
you are familiar with a harmonica, you would, it's kind of puzzling to you, sir. The holes are not in the right place.
Oh, it's broken.
No, it's not broken. It's made that way. It's just like if you were looking at it, almost like if you were to put the one that you have in your pocket versus the one that Maisie found on the floor next to each other and kind of tried to line them up. It's almost like it's set to a different key.
That is weird.
Care to share with the class?
Oh, my apologies, Maisie. It seems like the holes on this new harmonica that you found don't match the holes of a regular harmonica. And it looks like it's been made outside of America.
Well, I hate to point fingers, but the only person in town that we know that's been outside of the States regularly and who has anything in their possession that fine is not our doctor.
I know, I should probably... Well, do you mind if I keep the harmonica, Maisie?
Of course, I don't. The only thing I'd do with it is stare at it.
I'll bring it to Dr. Adams before he leaves town and see what he thinks of it. But while we're here, and I'll take my regular harmonica and I'll start playing a calming song on it.
You ever heard of harmonica? I don't think there's anything calming that comes out of harmonica.
You can play something that's like quiet and slow. It's a lament more than anything. That, or I get my, you know that needle thing you put in your mouth?
No. No. Nobody needs a tuning fork.
It's a tuning
no.
fork, alright.
But for the harmonica, let's say, I
You're
mean,
gonna make
you're
me
not
roll
bad
for
with
it.
it.
Okay, good.
It's a little amateurish, but it's not nails on a chalkboard. It's not painful to hear. It's kind of calm in some sort. Maisie, what is your reaction to your fine suitor pulling out a harmonica and attempting to calm your nerves with his musical performance?
I think as we decided in chat earlier, that Maisie is probably not very musically inclined. Like her personal skills is not like a personal skill set of hers. So if she wouldn't know that it's amateurish, she would think that it's like she'd be impressed. Like, you can play this a harmonica. That's cool. Like,
All right. No, it does not sound like that. No.
and I think she would, I don't know if she would find it calming, but she would find it sweet, and that it was a good distraction from what's going on, which I imagine is extremely painful.
This is probably true. I mean, that is numbing agents, but I'm not sure how widespread they would have been at the time outside of major military.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be.
There was probably some alcohol poured. There was probably some alcohol poured on that.
And I'm sure Maisie has taken at least a shot of something to get through.
Should
Isabel's got your hand in one hand and just kind of, have some of this and hand some.
bottle of whiskey, just ready to go.
Father, as you emerge into this scene of musical accompaniment to surgery, any comments for the tableau in front of you?
I'll probably have like
as Maisie
an eyebrow raised. Just
as
like
Maisie takes a
scan the
swig of something straight out of the bottle, basically, with her left hand, like.
just eyebrow raised to scan the room, but
Father,
I see
so that's
things are going well. Things are going well, it seems.
Oh, yes. I would say another 2 stitches, Drake.
That's a pretty good guess. And so this thing was across the lifeline, so I'm guessing it's maybe 3.5 inches or so
Yeah,
in length. So yeah,
roughly.
quite a few stitches to put in his hand.
Give or take. Whatever size Maisie's hands are. But so there are quite a few stitches in this hand. You're finishing it up, wrapping it up, putting a clean bandage on it. Well then, I'll leave you to it. I'm going to go get the children something to eat. Drake, I'll bring you out a sandwich, or do you want to wait until later?
No, that's fine. I'm just gonna finish up here, and that should be nice. Thank you.
All right.
Now, Maisie, don't go doing anything too extraneous with this. I don't want you to rip these stitches. So no heavy lifting for a few days, at least. And
Well, I'll try, but last time I was supposed to be taking it easy, I ended up in a shed.
understandable. I'm certain Robert can give you a hand around the store.
I'm sorry, who?
Oh, hi, Father. I think you might not have been aware, and I'll extend my hand. My real name is Robert Stone.
Why were you using an alias,
Well,
Robert?
do you remember all the bad things that happened with Lady Lovelace?
Vividly.
Hence why I was using an alias. I have made enemies in my past, and sometimes it's better to just... Well, I thought to change who you were so that they couldn't find you again.
This will take some getting used to.
I know. But, that's who I am. Robert Stone. No more fake names.
That is good.
And yes, Doctor, I would be more than happy to help Maisie around with the store. If she would have me. Would you have me help you, Miss Coldwater?
Of course. You know, as long as Daddy doesn't come by.
Even if your father were to come by, I mean, I'm just helping an injured person around the store. I mean, I'm just doing my civic duty to serve and protect. I don't even know if serve and protect was a thing back then.
I mean, it becomes the motto of the London Municipal Police Force in the 1830s. I don't know how widespread it is. Serve and protect becomes a New York City motto earlier, 1850s, I think.
Yeah, so he probably heard it before, and
I read a lot.
I know. So do I. I have 400 books in my apartment. It doesn't mean that I remember stuff like this.
Sorry.
Anyway, I am constantly impressed by the knowledge that just comes out of your mouth. Let's put it that way.
I thank you for that. But on that, so Maisie, you're going to head back to the store. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I think Maisie would want to head back to see the state of her place, to see if any of it strikes a memory.
Mm-hmm.
Given that our lovely father has not shared his knowledge with the class. And she would probably ask Robert to come with her.
I would.
So Robert and Maisie are going back to the store. What are the doctor and the priest doing?
Well, obviously, this is where like our fanfic comes in, and
with the priest, with the doctor's sister and her two children in the back room.
Not canon. Not canon.
Yeah. Well, I assume like as the doctor, like he's putting away some of his medical supplies. Doctor, every now and then I'm granted. I'm able to ask for things that have happened in the past from our Lord above. And I prayed this morning and I asked what happened to Maisie last night. It is hard to explain, but so are so many events happening these days. There was she walked into her room and she was accosted by a shadow. The shadow, she was under some spell. She did not seem to notice it, but it is the one that cut her hand and then pressed it down on the floor, and then it almost left the room, and then someone else came in. The faces were not coming to focus for me. And then it led her downstairs onto a horse. And that was all I was granted, but I don't know how to use this information. It seems to pose more questions than answers.
So, this is something you can just do?
It is a blessing granted to me. I am able to ask God for favors.
I mean, I'd say that's the weirdest thing I've heard, but I did just spend the morning with a man that proclaimed to be, well, really old. Let's just put it at that. I'm. So you're saying that Maisie was part of what was going on?
With things that we've seen together, Doctor, it was almost like she was under a charm or was hypnotized. She did not acknowledge anything that was happening to her, but seemingly she was standing.
Okay. And you said you can't make out any of the shadows that were with her.
It was more of a darkness that was coming towards her from the room, and then her hand disappeared inside and reappeared with a cut. And then it was pressed upon the floor by the shadow as it was like seemingly guiding her towards it.
Wait. So the cut hand was on the floor?
It helped her press it down to the floor.
But I don't think Robert said there was any blood on the floor, just on the door, it seemed. Oh, on the
Maybe.
I mean, you should probably at least tell Robert first and then maybe Maisie later. I'm not sure how someone would take the thought of that, but
my thoughts exactly. It is hard for me to. I have these blessings from time to time. There have been others, but it is hard to explain to people who do not understand a higher thought, I think.
Well, given what we've all seen, I'm fairly certain that this is probably the least worrisome thing that they'll have heard.
People have gone mad from lesser things happening to them.
Which
And
was-
on that line, we're gonna go take our break for the day. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, y'all.
Yep. See you in a few. And we're back.
As we dive back into Four Corners, we're gonna pick up just a couple moments after we left with Robert escorting Maisie across the street or up the street, I should say, to the Coldwater Sundries. Dr. Father, what are you gonna do with this new information that you have?
I'm gonna promptly tell the father that he should go let Robert know immediately. So, as weird as it sounds, I really think that this is information Robert should know. I mean, if there were others in the room, they might have left some sort of trace, some sort of an idea that would let us know who's behind whatever. Looking at that wound, Father, it was very clean. It was not in the terms of sanity or sterileness. It was just a straight, clean, precise cut. Something very, very sharp made that cut. And not glass or anything of that sort. I mean, it was, for lack of a better term, damn near surgical. So there's definitely something foul at play here.
Yes. All right. I will go inform Robert of what is happening. What happened?
I'll come along.
So the two of you are following up the street. Our young sweethearts have got a little bit of a head start on you, however. Robert, Maisie, what are you doing? Aside from playing with the puppy.
Sorry, priorities.
Puppy is priorities. I understand.
Go ahead, Simon.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna accompany you to the general store and ask Maisie on the way. So you don't recall anything that happened to you last night?
No, I don't remember anything. I remember saying goodbye to Geraldine and heading home, and that's it. I locked the door and I headed up to bed, and nothing. Then next thing I knew, I was awake in that shed.
Whoever did this, they managed to get inside the general store and out without so much as a noise. That worries me. Quick question, Deirdre. The door to the general store was unlocked when I arrived, though, right?
The front door was locked, which is why Miss Connors was banging on it. The back door was closed but unlocked.
Okay. Do you happen to recall if you locked the back door to the store? Or if it's generally locked?
Do I remember if I got through like my whole closing process? So I would have locked the back door. I mean, the last thing I remember was heading up to bed, so I would have made sure all the shutters were tight. I would have made sure all the cash was put away. The front and back door are locked. I do the same thing every night, and everything is locked up tight before I go upstairs.
I believe you. I'm trying to figure out where they could have come in from. I think the back door is, because the front door was locked when I arrived. When Miss Connors was pounding on it. It means that they came in through the back. Must have.
I mean, it's not like the layout of the store is much of a secret. Everybody in town's been through and around, and there's only a few people who've actually been upstairs, but it's not like a big place that you'd get lost in.
Oh, other peoples have been upstairs?
I mean, like my parents and their friends back when we lived up above the store.
I understand.
No worries. Aside from the times that you've been around with other guests, and no one comes upstairs.
Without a psychology roll, you can see that like Robert's happy.
Walking into the store. Excuse me, I apologize for that. Walking into the store again, you would see there really isn't a roll needed from Maisie because she's very used to what her store looks like. She would notice immediately the minor scuff marks on her floor, particularly near the back door, the drops of blood on the stairs. Are you going upstairs or are you going to do something else?
I think the first thing Maisie would look for is look at the back door, and it looks like if somebody was actually able to unlock it, or if it looks like it'd been busted open.
It's not hard to see. The door is just merely unlocked. It's not damaged in any fashion.
As far as Maisie is aware, does anybody else in town have a key to the store besides herself?
Well, yourself...
And
You're pretty sure your
parents.
parents have one. You might recall your daddy saying at some point that he gave Bruce Taggart a key
Yeah, that makes sense.
for,
To pick up deliveries or whatever.
pick up deliveries when they might have been having an event for some reason to, hey, lock up for me, or could you check on this for me? You're also pretty sure that your daddy has a key to the saloon for the same kind of reason.
Mm-hmm. mean, somebody must have just picked the lock. The only people that have keys are me, Daddy, and Unky Taggart. And I can't. My parents live on the edge of town. They don't come by very often, and
No, and I don't think Mr. Taggart would be the kind of person to try to abduct you from your place of residence and lock you up. Wait, you said behind the saloon earlier?
yeah.
I mean, I don't think Mr. Taggart is any kind of idiot, but to kidnap you and then lock you up behind the saloon would be a very idiotic move.
Would I know how often they use that shed? Like, is it something that's opened every so often, or is it something that's part of like the daily routine?
It's probably, I mean, it's a spare storage shed. It might happen occasionally, maybe once a day or something. They might need something from there, but it's
But
extra
it wouldn't be
storage.
weird that nobody all morning came out there.
Exactly.
I mean, the storage shed it's easy access. You know, it's easy to pop in and out of there. It's not like I don't think my uncle would have done anything like this.
You would also know that there's not a lock on that door.
Yeah. There's a reason they tried to block me in there. Guess they didn't think a girl could open the door.
Well, that's too bad for them then.
And about then, the doctor and the father come into the store. Where would they find Maisie and Robert?
Probably talking by the back door.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at the bottom of the stairs.
Maisie, Robert, it is good to see you again. In light of some of the recent events, I might be able to shine some insight on what happened last night.
How would you know what happened?
Maisie, will you permit yourself to take us to your room? I might be able to recreate the events that might have happened last night.
For lack of a better term, the father here seems to be somewhat clairvoyant.
Oh,
Not the weirdest thing that's happened today.
And I'll glance at the father, as I said.
I mean, Deirdre, you're muted.
Oh, I know.
Oh, okay.
To each their own, Doctor. It could have been... People don't take kindly to things they don't understand sometimes.
You don't have tentacles or drink blood, do you?
Not that I know of.
and you're
Okay,
not a
then
snake
not the-
person.
No. Not that I am aware of.
That's what a snake person would say.
Well, at least there's somebody with some of these odd skills on our side.
Besides Lady Goodnight, of course, which was a weird surprise.
Yeah, one of these days we're gonna have to talk about her putting me on that roof.
Please, if you had shown us the way, I was able to see somewhat of what happened last night to you.
All right. Let's make our way upstairs then, I guess.
So, from what I was shown, you came into the room very unassuming, and then you stood here, and then A
And-
shadow. Up.
Just as you say that, Father, and Maisie walks into the door of this room. Maisie, I need you to roll me a powers check.
Oh no.
Very good, Maisie. You feel something kind of seeping out from the floor around you, through you, trying to pull you and hold you in place. You feel your mind start to becoming darker, and you feel like you're just kind of falling, and then you shake awake and you stumble backwards into Robert and just kind of step away from the room.
I think she backs out of the door.
Maisie, is there something wrong?
There's something. It feels weird in here. I don't know how to explain it. It felt like something was trying to grab me, and it just feels wrong.
In the vision I was granted, it almost looked like you were under a spell. You walked into the room and you stopped in the center of it, and a shadowy form came towards you as if from nowhere. It grabbed your hand and placed it inside of itself, and it came out and your hand was cut. And then it pressed your hand to the floor as well after that. The darkness seemed to fade away after that, and a very short time later, someone else came into the room and took you down the stairs. You seemed unaware of all of this, but somehow conscious.
Why would they why wouldn't they just leave me here? Why would they take me away if they got whatever it was that they wanted? Or did they just not want me to be able to go back in my own room?
I thought that this might bring more questions than actual answers. I kept it to myself for a little bit, pondering anything I might glean from it, but your hand that was pressed on the floor is why I wanted to see your room again, Macy.
Well, please go ahead, but I can't go back in there.
I'll attempt to enter her room.
You have no problem opening the door, walking inside. Is only the priest entering?
I'm gonna enter too. I mean, I went in earlier, and I was fine.
Yep. You were fine. There was no problems. Looking around the room, at first glance, there's nothing out of place. Like I said earlier, Maisie is a very fastidious individual, and the only thing striking is an almost perfect handprint in the middle of her floor. Anything else, you need to roll that spot hidden on.
I want to walk in and look at the handprint on the floor.
Okay.
Now, is it just a bloody print, or is it something else? I mean, is it not blood?
No, it's definitely blood.
So it's blood, okay. Let me see if
I mean, gentlemen, if you wish to push the roll, you can work together, try and find what you got going on. As you're looking around, Doctor, and you're looking at this print on the floor,
Mhm.
you look at the space, you're a man of science at your core. You would notice that this is mathematically exactly in the center of this room.
So to the exact center.
The center of her palm is literally centered on the center of this floor. in the space of the walls, not counting the furniture.
Right. This handprint, and I'll take a step from one side of the room from the handprint and then to the other, and just kind of discern that it is. I mean, I don't have any measurement tools on me, but this seems perfectly within the center of this room. I mean, as impossible as it sounds, it's a few steps that way, a few steps the other. It's too perfect.
You would also notice that the way the hand is oriented, the thumb splayed out like this. The thumb is pointed north. The middle finger is almost due east. And the pinky is kind of at an angle to kind of point towards the south.
Do you think it could be some sort of magic spell?
I mean, it's entirely plausible. I mean, there should be some significance. I mean, the hand is pointing. The thumb shows north, and the fingers show east, or yes, and the pinky appears to be pointing south.
Is the Bradford Ranch in any of those directions from here?
I mean, the Bradford Ranch is northeast of town.
Maisie
Yeah, I
would
mean-
call from the landing because she hasn't come back to the room. She's just kind of standing on the landing outside, freaking out a little bit. She's just like, what if they're trying to find the way to that staircase?
I mean, it's a possibility. This is beyond my realm of understanding, but I can't say that I'm not intrigued.
Can we try to recall where? Because, I mean, so the staircase thing happened in the past. Most of the rocky formations around Four Corners probably were about the same, in the same place, or looked about the same back then. Using this, could I try to see where or actually, yeah, which direction the staircase would be compared to us?
You can roll me a history or a nature.
Natural world or history?
Natural world, yeah.
Wow. I'm going to go for natural world because it's a 10 instead of a 5. And you know what? I'm going to spend the 1 luck point
That's a good use of that 1 luck point.
because why not?
Based on your recollection and your tracking of the patterns, you'll recall that Maisie attempted to ascertain if she remembered anything around like this from being in Four Corners, and it didn't seem to be matching with anything she knew. But you knew that the time was off by about 3,500 years from the founding of that town, which seems an odd number and oddly specific measurement, not 3,500 years from the past of when you were, but from the founding of that town, from the first settlement in that location,
And
which is a lot old.
when was Four Corners built?
Four Corners of the town that it was built on.
The town it was built on.
About 5,500 years ago. And vague recollections and moving through and looking at this, you would ascertain, sir, that you'll remember and thinking back on it, that staircase, well, when Jane left you all the bottom of that staircase was roughly out in the location in front of the jail, which is where you all reappeared. Can you roll me a sanity check, please, sir?
Who, me?
Mhm.
Oh boy.
It's fine.
Do I? Oh no, I can't spend luck on sanity.
You cannot spend luck on sanity or on luck rolls. You only lose one. Trying to force your mind back into this vision and understanding. And as you do so, Maisie, I need you to make me a powers check. You are the only one not currently in the room. So you are the only one that notices as, and you can see it as it happens, this kind of darkness. You're slightly disconcerted. You're not sure you actually believe what you're seeing. You see the shadows in the corners getting longer and slowly rising. You thought at first it was just the sun moving in front of the drapes, and then they're moving around and kind of starting to coalesce and
Isaac,
rise.
you need to get out of there.
Who? What? What did you say?
Get out of there.
Out of where?
Out of my room.
I scramble out of the room.
Yeah.
Can.
I need you all
I
to
hear
make me
the-
a power.
Oh, this is gonna be bad. Oh, hard success.
Extreme success.
Sorry,
Goodbye, Father.
Father. You're shit out of luck.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I can't attack anybody. I have nothing.
As you hear that and you see those, and Maisie gives that call of warning, George, you scramble out of that room right quick and in a hurry. The doctor's a half second behind you, but he clears the door. And as you go to leave this room, Father, you're a mite slower and a mite bit older than these other gentlemen around, and you don't move quite as quickly as they do. And you step forward and you can't move. You feel your muscles lock in place. You feel everything about you just kind of seize in place. And you see this dark, almost darkness rise out of the corners of the room, around you. And then darkness is all that you see. The rest of you see the Father freeze in place in this almost liquid-like rolling mist or fog, that deep fog you get at the start of winter on the New England shore. Dr. Anders, you may have seen a couple of these. May have heard what darkens everything around it, but there's still movement somehow inside it. And you see it just kind of envelop the priest as he does not move. And you see it kind of freeze for a moment. Father, could you roll me an occult? I'll go with what we're doing here. As this darkness slowly begins to descend upon you, you hear a voice in your mind. It's a voice you recognize and you're mildly familiar with. It's a voice you favor and serve and appreciate most of the time. You hear it call out again in your mother tongue, but you also hear the Greek and the Latin underneath it. And you feel as this darkness tries to envelop you wholly, you feel it strike that crucifix you wear around your neck. and you see, you can't look or you can't move, but you almost feel and know this warmth on your chest as a light begins to expand out from that crucifix around your neck, pushing back and claiming your soul immortal from the service of God eternal. The rest of you see a light, very odd, almost bright, like staring at the sun kind of light emerge from this darkness and the cross that the priest wears around its neck. And then the darkness is gone in a flash. And the sun is in the room. There's still a glint of that sunlight striking that cross on around the father's neck. But it's almost like the shadows themselves have retreated. There's nothing in this room. Except the father, who still can't move. He's gonna need some help.
Father Makarov, are you alright? Father?
You can talk,
Oh.
but I do need you. But I do need you to roll me that sanity check.
Um.
Come on. You only lose one sanity because I can't roll tonight. Apparently,
Because God is on your side.
God is on your side. Apparently, God apparently likes you right now.
Aren't Jesus?
I appear to be stuck. At first, I thought my heart was broken, but I don't seem to be able to move.
You telling me you're paralyzed? And I'll walk in the room and see if I can
There's
Help
nothing
him.
stopping you.
help him move.
Roll me a strength check.
That is a fail.
You go to push on the father and you go to try and pull his arm. I mean, you're used to moving folk as a doctor, lifting people and putting them in the right position for perform surgery. You cannot move him. It seems like pushing against a brick wall almost.
Robert, come give me a hand.
Yeah. And I'll go in the room and help the good doctor. Try to drag Father Makarov out of there.
Well, then roll ahead and roll it with advantage for the two of you working together.
Yeah, Father, you should roll with advantage.
One of the two of you roll with advantage. I do not care which one.
I need to roll, or doctor needs to roll?
Doctor needs to roll.
Okay.
The doctor needs to roll. The doctor needs to roll.
There we go.
Oh, good. You managed to move him. And once the deputy and the doctor come over and kind of almost lift him up out of the space. Well, deputy, you and the doctor would both notice, because you saw this before, you would see that the mark on the floor is a bit brighter.
The handprint, you mean?
Mm-hmm. The handprint. Instead of being the color dark and color of dried blood, it's a little almost fresh.
Can I take a look at the palms of the father?
Mm-hmm.
Is he bleeding?
Nope.
Good. Well, good and not good. Father, what happened in there?
I tried to leave the room, and much like what I almost kind of saw happen to Macy happened to me. But I was enveloped by it instead of moved by it. I was protected in a way by God. It, I believe, sent back the darkness.
So it appears we're dealing with another one of them magical thingy or occult creatures or beings, and not just straight up kidnapping.
It would appear so.
Dang it.
And other than the handprint being fresh or fresher, is there anything else with it, or is it just look like newly printed blood?
Roll me a spot hidden.
Success.
As you're looking around and you're looking at this handprint and you look around on that floor, you notice a glint in the corner of the room.
Like something shiny?
Almost like something wet.
Now go take a look. See what we see in the corner.
Looking over there, you're looking at it and you realize you're not really, you're looking at the room and it's directly would have been, if you consider the room being organized on a north-south axis with that handprint dead center, and this corner is, well, over here in the northwest corner, you see a small carving, etching in the corner, some sort of symbol. You don't recognize it. Not anything you would have ever seen before. And you noticed it because it's it seems to be like it has wet blood on it. But looking at it, you see that it's carved into the wood of the baseboard.
And I'll holler down to Maisie. Maisie, you, not anything as a kid or anything, carved anything to these baseboards?
I'm guessing probably not.
I mean, the only thing that you might see about like that is I'm pretty sure your mama kept one of those, like this is
Hype
how tall
things.
you were, hype things, but that's in the corner of the kitchen and, you keep it around for nostalgia purposes, but no, you didn't. You are not a child who is going to be getting their mama mad at them by marking up their walls unnecessarily.
Good kid over here. If I was getting in trouble, it was outside. No, I mean, I've never done anything like that. Could somebody, maybe if we try and wash that handprint off the floor, maybe I
No.
can come back in?
I would hang on. I mean, you can try and come back in, I would suppose, and it sounds like the good father here removed all that dark energy here, if you want to say.
It was not me. Say your prayers, Doctor.
Probably for another time, Father. So, looking at whatever that is, you said it appears like it's a language,
Possibly.
or possibly.
It's a symbol of some sort. You're not sure what it is. It looks very intentional.
And I'll look at Robert. And I think we might want to ask Dr. Adams to come take a look here.
Well, before we do, can I take a look at the symbol?
You can.
Real quick, is it a symbol that I would have seen in Jane's book?
It looks vaguely similar. Not exactly like that, but it looks similar.
If I go get the book, come back, can I try to find the page that has this symbol, see if she left any notes on it?
You can?
I think that's what I'm gonna do. Can you wait for me just a moment? I might be able to know maybe a bit more about what it is that is carved there on the baseboard. And then Maisie, I'll clean up the blood from your room so you can stay there unless, well, I would understand if you were scared to stay in your room because of what happened. So, here, and I'll give her a key to my place. I'll say if there is anything, and I mean this with all the respect in the world, if there's anything and that happens, you can always come to my place. I'll leave the bed to you and I'll sleep on the floor.
It's twice now that someone's come into my room and trying to take me out of it one way or the other. I don't know if I feel safe here, and I don't even know if I can go back in. I guess maybe I should try to see if God really did wipe this clean, or if I can even go back in. And I think Maisie would try and step back into the room.
You walk into the room. You feel something cold on your spine. You can move in. It's not the same kind of coldness. And you see where the doctor is looking at your baseboard in that corner. And you feel a tug almost on your arm, on that cut on your palm. Almost like your hand wants to reach in the other direction.
Which way does it want to go?
Almost the directly opposite corner of Dr. Anders.
And I think she would walk over there. But she wouldn't. She'd like tuck her hands in basically into her armpits, right? And walk over and see if there's anything else in the corner.
I'm not gonna make you roll for it. It's your house. You know your house. You see a symbol that you're not sure you've ever seen, that you know you've never seen before. You, again, a very fastidious person. You would not allow something like this in your room without you knowing about it. It's a symbol you don't recognize, and again, it looks wet with blood.
And she'd check the other two corners too.
4 different symbols, one in each corner.
Well, something in here still feels wrong to me, but I don't feel attacked necessarily, just watched almost. And Doctor, there's more symbols in every corner.
And looking at those, I'm assuming they're not anything discernible.
Nope. They're not anything discernible. They do look, however, like they're intentional. And they're all different. Robert, are you going to get that book?
Mm-hmm.
And Maisie kind of realized she's been gripping this key that Robert gave her. And she kind of takes it and puts it on. She has a key ring of keys for the store. She kind of adds it. And then just kind of stands probably off to one side, trying to be as far away from any of the stuff.
Do you leave the room?
I don't think so.
She just jumps through the window.
Did that. Not doing it again.
So, Robert, where is this book?
I keep it hidden under my pillow.
Okay. You walk into your room going for that book. You notice something. It's a mite odd. Your dresser, sir, seems to be glowing.
I might have forgotten one or two lit matches in there. I might as well just put them out. And I'll open the dresser.
Inside that dresser, you see that tablet that you're holding on to.
Oh, shoot.
It's glowing.
Oh,
Kind of a soft, undulating glow.
I turned it off.
You touch it?
Yeah.
You put your hand on it, and it feels cold. And your whole body feels cold. And you feel, again, that overwhelming sensation of being underwater.
I take my hand off.
It doesn't work. You pull your hand away, but the sensation doesn't go. You look at the tablet, and it looks like, well, a boat light from underwater. You know, that kind of softly diffused light you get from a lantern as you're looking at it from underwater. And the coldness seeps into you. And you hear a voice in the back of your mind. Careful. They know that you're here now. You've brought their attention. I like her. She'll be good for you. And the coldness recedes. And the glow in that tablet gets dimmer. It's no longer drawing any attention. It seems to go back to that kind of sea glass kind of shape that it's on.
Alright, I'll close the dresser and grab the book and get the fuck out.
Walking back into Maisie's apartment. You have a book in your hand. And everyone would see that Robert is carrying this book in his hand. It's red, almost. Looks very old.
Alright, where's that there sign?
Take your pick, Robert. They're one in every corner.
Where did you get that book, George? Robert?
That was on Jane Langley's person. Or in a horse's saddlebags. I meant to study it a bit further. It seems like it might lead to some answers regarding the snake people and the bug people and all the nasty kind of things that happen around here.
You're taking stuff from Jane without letting the rest of us know?
I meant to tell everyone. I just didn't have the time for it. What with Dr. Adams and everything.
Some books are best not opened, especially of an occult nature.
But if we can have the answers to our questions in there, seems a bit like folly to just skip them over.
Have you opened it thus far?
Oh, I did. Started looking through it.
Did you learn anything?
I can, but technically my character sheet doesn't have the spells that I'm supposed to know, so... I did learn a few things about here and there. For now, I'll just want to check out the symbols, and we can talk about the book after, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, George. Robert.
Alright. Are the 4 symbols the same symbol? So there are 4 different symbols. Alright, so I'll just start leafing through the book to try to find a picture of any of those 4 symbols. I know you said earlier there's one of them that might look like one of those, but if I can find like any of the other 3 as well, that's what I'm going to go for.
Can you roll me a luck roll?
Yeah, that's a failure.
No, it's not a failure in the sense you're thinking of. It takes you time. It takes you a while. And you're going through and you have to go back and forth a number of different times. You get disoriented and almost dizzy trying to do so. This is not an easy book to read or to use. But you find finally one of the symbols. The one in the northwest corner, the first that Dr. Anders pointed out to you. It's on a page. Again, remembering that one of the pages, a part of this illuminated text that seems to be, the snake winding through like that flip book in the corner. There is a note from Jane on that page.
What does it say?
This first is just a giant question mark. I hope this never is true. It would be a curse. But is it my curse? Is it their curse? I'm not sure. Who is this? How does this work? I don't understand. It's a siphon. It's a siphon. It's a cipher. It's a siphon. They're coming. That's all it says.
Well, I'll be damned. This doesn't bode well. This, seems to have scared Mrs. Langley. She wrote in the book that it might be a cipher or a siphon, and that something's coming.
Those are 2 different things.
Maybe the cipher for a siphon? I mean, I'm just going off the notes that she left in the book. I haven't read the book thoroughly yet.
What is the book? Is it a journal? Academics?
It seems like it's about half and half. It's like an old tome of some sort that I haven't gotten around to decipher completely yet. And here and there, all across the pages are. And I'll show you, like, I'll flip through some of the pages and show you the notes that she left in the margin. And it seems that Jane was trying to decipher it as well. It seems to probably be somehow linked to what's been happening in Four Corners.
Father, as George shows you this, I need you to do two
Blasphemy.
things. I need you to do two things for me. One, I need you to roll me an intelligence check.
I get a bonus die because I'm sharp-witted for intelligence checks.
Yes, you do. Now I need you to roll me that sanity check.
Darn it, George, Robert.
You asked for it.
No,
Look at
I didn't.
you.
You only lose 4 sanity, sir.
Wow.
It's
There's
not
some-
like y'all have plenty of sanity left.
It's not like it's Cthulhu where sometimes you don't want to actually understand what you're reading. As Robert is showing you this, Father, you seem to understand more. You begin to understand what this is, and it's disconcerting to you. At a fundamental level, at your core of your being, this is disconcerting.
That's what I was afraid of.
You don't understand so much the words, although you're getting hints of what it could be. It seems to be a book of power. And you read through the notes in the margins that he's showing you, and you begin to notice that Jane starts in this book with being sarcastic and sassy and, oh, good Lord, why would anyone believe with a bunch of words you could make a person feel like they're in pain? Who would believe this bullshit? Kind of stuff. And then as the book goes on and gets later, the notes in the margin are rambling. They like what Robert said, notes that begin to show she's less and less stable as time went on. And the end is, well, when they gets to the page where Robert is showing you that this symbol is located, you see how messy the note is. The handwriting is sloppy. It's choppy and like somebody was rushed. You could read it. It makes sense. But it's very much you feel in the words themselves her lack of control, her questioning everything that was going on around her.
George, do not read this book. And I'll just like slowly close it in his hands.
All right, Doctor. Father. Father, Doctor.
So many people. What do you do with
Oh, go ahead.
What do you do with the book when the father closes it?
Oh, I put it in my the satchel I have on me with some of my stuff. I assume it's like a small book, like a notebook, and not like a giant tome.
No, it's not a giant tome. It's the size of a journal.
Okay.
It's roughly about, if you want to know, about this big.
Okay, yeah, so it fits in a satchel.
Mm-hmm.
It is very dangerous, Robert. People think that words don't have power, when in reality they have so much. What is written in there is... To me, it's blasphemous. You should probably destroy it. But something tells me you won't. If it were me, I would destroy it, or I don't even know if I would show anyone else in my order the contents of what it says. It is power that should not be messed with by humans. It may have drove Jane mad.
Sorry, 2 seconds. Hello? Okay.
I'm not mute. Hi, cat.
I heard stomping downstairs and I was like, there's someone in my house.
Oh no!
Snake people.
Well, I was wondering, I was like, the doors are locked, so...
Snake people with lockpicks.
Yeah, it's, yep. Too close today. Father, I will take your words to heart, don't you worry none. But I still think that some of the information in that book might be useful to us, so if you don't mind, like you said, I'm not gonna destroy it, but I would keep it for reference purposes. Who knows? We wouldn't have known anything about the symbols had I not had the book on me.
What do we know about the symbols from the book, George?
That they might be part of a cipher, or a siphon, or a curse, and that they herald the coming of something.
And hearing the word curse is going to make the doctor a little uneasy, and he's just going to step outside of the room.
I don't mean to be contrary, Robert, but I think the idea of it being a secret and a curse and maybe a bad thing, we could have gotten without the book.
Darkness and the occult are... It is designed to pose more questions than answers, so you dig deeper and deeper and deeper until you can't climb your way out, George.
I'm already 24 points away from not being able to climb back out anyway.
Hey, Robert.
Hmm?
Can you roll me an occult?
With
No.
my brand
No.
new...
No. Not an occult. Mythos.
Oh. Let's hope. Can I try to push it?
Mm-hmm. How are you going to change the situations?
He just turns around and opens that book and just reads it straight in front of me.
Just remember, the last person that read that book, you put 2 bullets into.
You know what? I
And
think
then
that's what...
on fire, so...
So it's a reflexive mythos check, because I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. So I think in a flash, George snaps his finger, says, oh wait, picks up the book, and says, I might have forgotten something, and just flips real quick to the page where like the information from my successful check is going to I burned 15 luck.
You do. You burn that 15 luck. And looking at that book a second time, you notice now that each of those symbols in those 4 corners is an illuminated mark, letter possibly, at the start of a page at various points in this book. And they each begin a, well, word, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
And when you get to the fourth one, there's an illumination at the bottom of the page that looks like a staircase and a gate. And at the top of this, with the gate at the top of the staircase, with a big chain running through it, and a figure at the bottom of the page with a key in their hand.
Would the key be made of silver by any chance?
It kind of looks like it. I mean, it's an illuminated manuscript. It's a bright, silvery kind of thing.
No, I'm just thinking about the gate and the silver key.
I know,
Um,
but it's not the same.
and you said the others before were like letters making up a word.
No. Think of it like, well, they're all letters, but think of it like, you know, the Book of Kells or an illuminated manuscript from the Middle Ages. Each of the symbols in the four corners are an illuminated symbol that starts the page.
Oh, okay. And those would be the 4 symbols that we saw in the room.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at them in order, if you read through the book and look at them in order they appear in the book, you would correlate them to the southeast corner, the northwest corner, the northeast corner, and the southwest corner.
I think we're sitting on top of something. There's them 4 corners in the book. I forgot about them. But the southeast, the northwest, the northeast, and the southwest, and then... Well, then there's that staircase again with a chain gate at the top.
From when we had the vision with Jane, the same staircase.
I think it's the same staircase. I think there's something in 4 corners, something very rotten in 4 corners. I think we might
On
be...
that line, we're going to end it for tonight.
Oh, god damn it.
It's a great one. Oh, I'm not muted.
It's okay, that was the best line.
Yes.
We all okay?
My notes are starting to look like my character's sanity. It's just a bunch of nonsensical drawings.
Welcome to Cthulhu.
Yep. Well then.
I feel like Alice. I just want to like.
Yeah.
That works. I'll take that. But
So. Let's
the
just...
doctor and the priest aren't looking happy.
Oh, I'm just waiting for the shitstorm to roll in of whatever this is going to be.
Same.
My
I just
room has
wanna-
become like a cursed portal to the underworld. I think we are in the eye of the shitstorm.
Exactly.
I just want to burn that book. Nothing good's gonna come of it.
I know nothing's good gonna come of it, but I needs to read
can't-
it.
I can't put it down. I got to keep reading.
What do you mean? There's no harm in opening a book.
Yeah,
Nothing
Robert.
bad's ever come from reading a book.
I'm a Lovecraftian character. I have to read.
I'm pretty sure we're just going to see the decline of Robert. He's going to slowly lose his sanity and then go nuts.
Yeah,
like-
he's
Yeah.
gonna turn into Jane.
You're a Lovecraftian character. You have to read and then go crazy.
I know. Isn't that beautiful? I know it's gonna happen. It's a tragic descent. And I can only fuel George's curiosity and passion for it.
I'm all here for it. I'm here for all of it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, let's do outros. We'll do reverse order from our intro. So we'll start with our keeper. Warrior
Hello all.
Welcome.
Hello all. You know me. I'm at Dirge Online on Twitter or Praxagora Thesmophoria as you see me hanging out in the Twitch chat. I'm playing a lot of games right now. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's all the fun. But tomorrow you can find me over on Soul Bear RPG as the Shattered Fam deals with, you know, its family drama and other political issues that are coming up, and possibly hashtag Kill Castra and hashtag Save the Town. One of those two things. Hopefully both of those things will happen. Then Monday over on Role Players as Simon plays, runs some D&D over on Role Players. Then back here on Tuesday for Dark Matter. Wednesday over on Other Doc for some Robot Hamlet versus Robot Richard III. And Syphilis is a thing. The dark side is a sexually transmitted disease.
It's so great.
You have to go watch it. There is no other way to explain it. You have to watch it. Back here on Fridays for some adventures in Castle Falkenstein and all the high steampunk drama that happens. I love that game. I also love the fact that the Contessa is making the very stuffy Englishman so uncomfortable. But it's fun.
And sorry, we're having conversations in the private chat. Next up is returning today was Maisie. How are you? And where can we find you?
Hi. I missed this game. I'm very sad that I can't regularly come, but just reasons. But you'll be seeing me more than I was expecting, I think. I'll be back soon. And in the meantime, Deirdre gets all these opportunities to do crazy things to Maisie because I'm not here, and I'm loving it. I support it wholeheartedly. So I'm Kelly at Kelly Lane on Twitter. My general schedule here Saturdays when I can be. Mondays at 10:30 p.m. EST. I actually am running my first campaign on Spartacus Academy. D&D. It's a high epic fantasy story. I think this week is going to be really, really spicy, so you might want to pop in. Wednesday, speaking of epic campaigns, I'm also a player on the Academy at 7 p.m. EST for our Star Wars campaign, where I play a Cathar who is slightly force sensitive and almost a little bitter about it. And we are a blind cast doing an Old Republic storyline, so none of us actually know very much about the Old Republic lore, but for those of you who know it, we've just had the great reveal of Revan. So you might want to tune in for that Wednesdays. Besides that, actually tonight at 10 p.m. EST, sorry, doing time zone conversions in my head, I'll be joining on the Academy's 24-hour stream for a game of Fiasco, where we're basically doing Mean Girls of the Academy. So that should be fun. And that's me.
Nice. I'll try to tune in after my home game tonight for Mean Girls. Doctor, who are you? Where can we find you?
I am at Berserker_Rage on Twitter. You can find me here on Saturdays, and then I'm always trying to sneak my way into other things. So if anybody out there has anything that you're looking for a player for, I am more than happy to try and jump into things. Speaking of which, I am on deck for the Fall of Fae run over on the Tales from the Grid channel. So probably will be showing up there either depending on how things go this Thursday or the following. Hopefully there aren't any more deaths, but with that game, that's really hard not to have. So look for me there and anywhere else.
All right, and our good doctor.
Father.
Jeez.
Yep, I see how it is. All right, I'm going to go get my doctorate, Deirdre. I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks. I'm just going to go travel back east, get my doctorate, come back. Anyway, Deirdre, had a great time. Macy, yep, glad you're back. Hope you can be back as much as possible. Simon, thanks for inviting me. Yeah, whew, what a session. Always a good time.
Oh.
Um,
Wait. I'll be right back.
It's okay. We can talk without him.
Anyway, I'm on Twitter at Dragon. Yeah, I don't really post much, but I just like retweet, blot everybody else's stuff. So yeah, I do that. I'm here Thursdays as well for keep on the Shadowfell, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, that's super fun.
Yep.
We're doing that. I'm not really sure where that story's going. I'm pretty sure we're helping an evil old wizard become a mega evil old wizard, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and that's what I'm doing.
And I am muted.
Do we pass it to Deirdre or Simon?
To Simon.
Simon.
And I'm Simon at Wondering_DM on Twitter, WonderingDM on Twitch. Hey everyone, this is my channel. Thanks a lot for coming and hanging out in chat. Thanks a lot to the players for playing. Thanks to all of you for supporting the show. I love you very much. And before we leave, we'll just go around and raid our friends at the Academy. Why not raid Scrat and spread the love over to his side. And as always, you can find me here on Tuesday, on Thursdays, on Fridays, and on Saturdays for all of the good TTRPG fun. Sundays on Soul Bear RPG, and on Mondays on Role Players TV. Or Role Players. Role Players, period. Yeah. Alright, on that note, I will see you, or we will see you again next week. Bye, everyone.